Hey guys, Mark here from Ratings.com, and today we're doing a quick comparison between the Apple AirPods Pro and the second generation AirPods that came out earlier this year. The Pro series of the AirPods have a more noticeable design update that's geared toward providing more isolation than the regular lineup. They're active noise canceling and sport a more typical in-ear fit that should isolate you better in noisy conditions. However, they are considerably pricier than the regular AirPods, so are they worth the upgrade? Well, in this review, we'll compare the design, sound, isolation, leakage, as well as the active features and connectivity options. But as always, let's start with what's in the box. As for what's in the box, it's pretty much standard fare for most Apple designs, so not much. For the AirPods Pro, you have a lightning cable, the manuals, 2 sets of additional in-ear tips, the Pro charging case, and the Apple AirPods Pro. It's about the same for the second generation AirPods, but without the in-ear tips, so the lightning cable, the manuals, the wireless charging case, and the second generation AirPods. Now let's get the boxes out of the way and compare the design. For their build quality, it's about a tie for both headphones. The Pros only have a few design changes that do not necessarily make them more durable, but does make them distinguishable at a glance. The Pros have slightly shorter stalks and a generally thicker build, but keep the same design language as the previous generations, which looks and feels great. They also both come with compact carrying cases that would easily fit into your pockets, especially compared to some of the other truly wireless headphones that we've tested. The Pro's case is wider and slightly larger overall, but not by much, and it should still be easy to carry around on your person at all times. Like the AirPods 2, the Pro's case has Qi wireless charging. This makes them great if you have a phone that supports wireless power sharing, so you can top off your headphones on the go. However, they're not available with the regular charging case, like the AirPods 2, for those that do not need the wireless charging feature. Overall, build quality-wise, the AirPods lineup of headphones has been great so far, including the Pros. However, for comfort, there's a bigger difference overall. Since the last gen AirPods have a one-size-fits-all design, when they work for you, they're typically more comfortable than the Pros, but if not, then the Pros would be the better option. The Pros, being noise-canceling headphones, had to switch to a more typical in-ear format to passively block some of the higher frequency noise and let the ANC take care of the lower range. Unfortunately, this does mean that they fit more like traditional in-ears, which can be a hit and miss for some, especially during long listening sessions. They only come with 3 tip sizes and no foam tips in the box, which would have been a great addition. On the upside, even with the in-ear design, they are one of the most comfortable truly wireless in-ears that we've tested. The angled shape of the nozzle, combined with the lightweight and fairly compact build, makes them less noticeable than the Sony WF-1000XM3, for example. They won't completely disappear in your ear like the old AirPods for those that like that fit, but they're still very comfortable headphones overall. However, stability being one of the biggest issues of the old design, it has been improved for the Pros. The Pros feel less likely to fall out of your ears thanks to the more secure in-ear fit, which definitely makes them a more suitable option for sports and the occasional jog. Lastly, for the control schemes, and here the Pros give you a bit more functionality, but they're fairly limited with no volume controls on the earbuds, which is disappointing. Interacting with the Pros is a little different than the old gen AirPods. You now squeeze the Force Touch sensor in the stalks to trigger the functions. By default, one squeeze of either earbud would play and pause your music, and also manage calls. A double squeeze of either earbuds will skip tracks, and a triple squeeze rewinds. If you pinch and hold, you enable the noise cancellation feature or the transparency mode. And if you go into the settings of your iOS device, you can change this press and hold feature to either turn off ANC or switch either buds to trigger Siri instead of using the always-on Hey Siri feature with your voice. You also get a bit more control options in the accessibility settings for how long you need to press to register a control or the interval between squeezes. Unfortunately, the lack of volume controls on the earbuds is noticeable and feels like a significant omission, similar to the old AirPods. The last-gen AirPods use taps on the touch-sensitive surfaces instead of squeezes, and also you have to manually set which earbud you want to skip or rewind tracks with. This makes the Pros a bit easier to use if you choose to only listen to one earbud at a time, but overall, the control scheme is not as good as some of the other truly wireless headphones like the Jaybird Vista, the Elite Active 65T, or most of the other Jabra truly wireless earbuds. Overall, design-wise, the AirPods Pro are a decent upgrade, especially if you don't mind the fit of more traditional in-ears. They have the same high-end build quality as the last-gen AirPods, but with shorter stalks, and they're a bit easier to use thanks to the squeeze inputs with slightly more functionality. However, the in-ear fit might not be ideal for everyone, especially if you liked how the old AirPods fit in your ears.
The main difference between the sound of the AirPods Pro and the regular AirPods is their increased bass, which is due to the closed-back in-ear design of the AirPods Pro as opposed to the open earbud design of the AirPods. So unless you listen to podcasts and audiobooks exclusively, you would find the sound of the AirPods a lot more pleasing. Now, before looking at their measurement results, we are going to play a recording we have done with these headphones so you can get an idea about how their sound compares for yourself. Just keep in mind that this is a relative comparison and not an absolute one. So it is good for seeing which headphone has more bass or treble, for example, but you won't be able to judge the actual sound profile. And if you get one of these headphones and listen to the same track that we've used here, you most likely won't hear the same thing. Here we have the frequency response of the AirPods Pro on the left and the regular AirPods on the right. And as you can see, the Pro model has a significantly deeper and stronger bass. This means they will produce more kick, punch, and even thump, which is important for almost all music genres, especially the bass-heavy ones. The mid-range of the Pro version shows a bit of a bump around 500 Hz, but it shouldn't be noticeable by most people. On the other hand, it has a more tame treble compared to the regular AirPods, since it doesn't have the 2 kHz peak. Overall, the AirPods Pro are the better sounding of the two in all areas, and the only time you may not notice a big difference between them would be with audio content that doesn't have any bass, like podcasts and audiobooks. In terms of frequency response consistency, the AirPods Pro are an improvement over the regular AirPods, again, because of their in-ear design, which helps with seal and stability. However, we still notice some variance in their bass and treble delivery across multiple reseats compared to most other in-ears, like the Sony WF-1000XM3. We don't think the variance is big enough to be a deal breaker, especially since you can check the quality of the fit on iOS devices. Now, for isolation and leakage, we have also recorded a comparison, which we're going to play now. First up is isolation. Since the AirPods Pro are closed back and have active noise cancelling, they isolate a lot more than the regular AirPods, which barely provided any isolation. The ANC of the Pros are actually very good, even when you compare them with other in-ears or earbuds with ANC, like the Bose QC30 and the Sony XM3. And as you can see here, they provide almost twice as much isolation in the bass range than the Sony, making them suitable for both office and commute use. Now, let's listen to the leakage recording. The AirPods Pro also have a very good leakage performance, once again, due to their closed-back in-ear design. Their leakage profile is very similar to the regular AirPods, but significantly quieter. So you don't really need to worry about people hearing what you're listening to, whereas with the regular AirPods, people around you may be able to hear S and T sounds leaking out of your headphones at moderate to loud volumes. Now let's go back to Mark.
For the active features, starting with their latency, they are both in the same ballpark, but the AirPods Pro performed slightly worse in our test. The Pros had 227 milliseconds of latency, the last gen 204. However, this was tested with a third-party dongle that's compatible with our test bench PC and not an iPhone. For comparison, we ran a quick latency test on an iPhone with the AirPods, and thanks to the H1 chip, latency was only about 26 milliseconds on iOS compared to 260 on an Android phone. This means you will most likely not notice any latency at all when paired to an iPhone or an iPad. For the wireless range, here the AirPods Pro are doing slightly better than the last gen AirPods. The AirPods Pro reached up to 171 feet versus 149 feet in direct line of sight. This makes the Pros a bit more suitable if you're often paired to a fixed source like your iMac or your TV and move around your house or office a lot. However, in most cases, it won't make that big a difference. Also, both headphones are Bluetooth 5 and come with the H1 chip, so you may get even better range than what we measured here using one of the more recent iOS devices as your source. As for battery life, the AirPods Pro lasted a bit longer on average in our test. The Pro's earbuds lasted about 5.3 hours on a single charge compared to the last gen's 4.1 hours, but your mileage may vary a little depending on your listening volume. It's not the longest lasting headphones on a single charge, unlike the Power Beats, Galaxy Buds, or even the Sonys. However, you do get up to 5 potential recharges in the case for a total of more than 30 hours for the Pros and more than 24 hours for the last gen AirPod, which is great. The Pros charge fully in about an hour, and you also have the addition of Qi wireless charging support, which is convenient if you have a wireless charging pad or a phone that supports it. Overall, both headphones have enough battery life for most use cases, as long as you take a few breaks here and there during your listening session. For the app and software support, sadly, both the AirPods Pro and the AirPods do not have a proper app with in-depth customization options like some of the other truly wireless headsets we've tested. Instead, they have a simple interface that shows battery information for the buds and the case once paired to your iOS device. You also get a few more options to tweak in the Bluetooth settings, like the button mapping for each bud and disabling the auto ear detection or the noise canceling features for the Pros. You also get a few more options to tweak in the Bluetooth settings, like the button mapping for each bud, or disabling the auto ear detection or noise canceling features for the Pros. You also get accessibility options for the Pros, but that's about it. So no 5-band EQ, no room effects, or no auto off settings, which makes the AirPods not as customizable as some of the other truly wireless headphones from Sony or Jabra. Lastly, for the connection options, both the AirPods Pro and the AirPods 2 are Bluetooth 5.0 headphones with the H1 chip. This means they may have a considerably better performance than what we've measured here, especially when paired to an iOS device with Bluetooth 5.0. On the other hand, the case is about the same in terms of connectivity for both models. They both come with a fairly short lightning cable just to recharge the case. So overall, are the AirPods Pro worth it? For most, we would say yes. The addition of the noise canceling feature and the change in design to a more traditional in-ear makes them a better headphone for commuting and working out. They have the same sleek and well-made design of the AirPod lineup, a better sound with more bass thanks to the better seal of the in-ear fit, and one of the more portable and comfortable truly wireless headphones that we've tested. Unfortunately, the control scheme is not great, they lack customizable features, and for some, the in-ear design may not be as comfortable as the older generation AirPods. They're also a bit expensive when compared to some of the other truly wireless models that we've reviewed recently. But on the upside, if you're looking for noise-canceling truly wireless in-ears, there are better options than some of the competing models on the market right now. And that's pretty much it. If you want to see all our measurements, check out the reviews for both headsets on our website. And if you like this video, subscribe to our channel or become an insider for the latest updates and results as we test. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.